Good morning, folks. My name is Patrick Petty. I'm a student here at JTech. We're going to be talking about the whole process as far as torquing your main caps and your rod caps, lubrication. Kind of the order that you go in for as torquing them to. Of course, we all know, especially when it comes to torquing your main caps, you want to make sure that you look it up. A good tool that we have here at school is called Pro Demand. You can pull up the type of engine, type of vehicle that it is simply by just putting the VIN number in or type of engine it is, and it pulls up the spec for that particular component of the engine. Really the first thing we want to look at here, you can see that it's already assembled here, but one important thing that you have to always remember, even though we're just doing some torquing and placing your bearings and caps and stuff back in the bottom of your block, you want to make sure that you have the proper PPE. That's just your safety glasses, and some people do use gloves. Personally, I don't use gloves, but I do try to use glasses at any point in time in the shop or anywhere. Basically, first thing that you would need to do whenever you're assembling this engine, you want to make sure that everything is lubricated. That means oil in your cylinders, oil on your bearings, oil on your crank, the journals. Make sure that it's very lubricated, because when you get ready to drop your pistons in your cylinder, you don't want anything scratching the inside of your walls of your cylinder. You don't want to make sure, you also want to make sure whenever you're dropping your pistons in on these rods, there's studs that stick up, and you don't want to nick your crankshaft, the journals of your crankshaft, or that would damage it and cause major malfunctions and problems in the future. So that's real important. So like I said, you can't put enough oil inside of an engine. The more oil, the better. So like I said, the first thing you would do, make sure that you get all your lubrication. Put your main cap, your bearings on. Inside of these main caps, you have a bearing. You got a bottom bearing, which is where your crankshaft sits down on. And then once you put your cap on, there's a bearing also that's on the inside of this cap. That's pretty much the gist of that. When you're torquing, you want to make sure, it's a process. Like I said, every engine may be a little different. You may want to look at it. Sometimes you start with a 30 pound foot, you do inside and you do out. So for example, you would do this one, and you bump over, you do this one, and you would do this one, and then you would do this one, and you would do this one, and then you go all the way to the end, do this. So when you start 30 here, this very last one right here is going to be 32. But like I said, there is a pattern that you go through. You look through Pro Demand that tells you might do 30, and then your second time around you might go 45, and then whenever you get ready to finish, it might be 60, and then a half turn, a half 40-degree turn. But I don't necessarily know that it's going to be quite that high, 30 pounds. I'm just kind of using that as an example. Then also, whenever that's all tightened and snugged and torqued to spec, you start putting your rod caps on. Same thing. And if you look here, see how it's got an arrow. Okay, this arrow is basically just representing the front of your motor. The front of your motor is this way. So any good technician, any good engineer, any good mechanic, they would put these dots on these rod caps showing where the front of the engine. And if you want to look real closely here, it even tells you on your main caps that it's pointing. This goes to the front of the engine. And that's pretty much it. Basically all we talked about this morning is as far as your lubrication process, the assemble process, and your torquing process whenever you assemble your main caps, your bearings. One thing that we didn't cover on caps, there's a bearing inside. You have what they call keys. It's like a little notch in your bearings. You want to make sure that those line up key to key also. But that's pretty much it as far as the bottom end of your engine. Like I said, make sure that you have the proper PPE and plenty of lubrication. Thank you for your time. Bye.